So you've created your skateboarder, and now what we're going to do is we're going to add a few effects to it. So we have our two layers, right? The skateboarder and the background. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click away from all the layers, and I'm going to create a new layer. So I'm going to go right click, new, and I'm going to do solid, and I'm going to title it vignette, Ignette. I might have spelled that wrong, but I'm going to change the color to white, click OK, and I'm going to click OK. So what I did was I just created a layer on top of this, and I'm going to come over here and I'm going to into my effects and presets. So find that. If you don't see it right there, you can go to window, effects and presets. So VINGN. So vignette, and I want the one that says stylized, so I'm going to double click that. And what this does is it allows me to get a little bit of a shadow around the edges to make it a little bit more exciting. And I can change that if I want. I can drag that. So I like where it is right here. Maybe maybe it's a little bit too dark. Maybe right there. You can also change the point, the center point. So I'm going to move it up a little bit so it's a little bit darker at the bottom and higher, brighter at the top. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down to the bottom. So click on my vignette layer. You can hit F4 if you have an F4. I'm on a Mac, so I don't have an F4. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on my bar right here and then say columns. And I want to find modes. So make sure that modes is on. So columns, modes. Right. So I'm going to change this to, let's go with multiply, right? So when you multiply white, it automatically disappears. So now I have a nice vignette around the edges and at the top. It's bright in the center where my skateboarder is. So that's a nice little trick right there. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do some color adjustments in the background. So I'm going to right click again, and I'm going to say new, solid, and I'm going to title this one gradient map. Alright, and I'm going to click OK. And I'm going to come over here to this and I'm going to type gradient. So gradient ramp is what I want. I said map down here. Let me change that to right click, rename. Gradient ramp. Alright, so I'm going to double click my gradient ramp. And it gives me black to whatever. So I'm going to change this color. I want a bluish color. So I'm going to go blue right here. And I'll click on this. I want an orangey color. Orange. And so I don't want it to go top to bottom. So I'm going to set my other points. So I'm going to click right here. So now it's going left to right. I'm going to click my second point. And I'm going to click down here. So it's a little bit more. And you can drag these to wherever you want. As it gets towards the bottom, it gets a little bit more orangey. Alright, so now what I want to do is I want to test this out. So I'm going to change my blend modes again. And let's go, I start with overlay to see how it looks. So I get this nice color down there and at the top. But maybe I don't want it to be on the skateboarder. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab that and drag it in between my layers. So now it's just applying to the one behind it, giving it a little bit more effect. And it's not as bright, so maybe instead of overlay, maybe I go with a color burn, right? Which I do like. It gives it kind of a edgy look to it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my transform. I'm going to lower the opacity a little bit. So it's still giving it a burn, bring in some of the darker areas out. And I got the blue in the sky, but orange down here. But it's less strong. So right, that's what I did. And again, I can hit play, see how it looks. And I like it. So I'm going to stop it and export as a GIF. So After Effects. So export Adobe Media Encoder. It's probably going to ask me to save it. Let me save it first. Save. Skate. Oops, took a little bit. Skate. Parralax. And save to my desktop. Alright, so I got my media encoder. So I'm gonna delete the first one because I don't think that's the one I want the one that says skateboarder Parralax. Actually, I'm gonna delete both of them because I don't know which one is which. Alright, so I'm gonna go to After Effects, File, Export to Media Encoder. Alright, so there's my file, H.264. This would be a video. What we want to do is we want to save it as a GIF. So there are no GIFs, so what we want to do is just export it as frames. Oh, there's animated GIF. Alright, so I'm going to click on that. So animate GIF format, export video, quality. I'm gonna have to put this in some kind of folder. So I'm gonna click on my output name right here, and I'm gonna make sure that it's in a folder. So it says where, and it's gonna be, let's see where that's being saved to. It's being saved to my desktop and Skate Parralax, so that's fine. So I'm gonna click save, and I can change the quality of it. It's really big for a GIF, so I'm gonna come in here and lower this to 1,000 pixels. So 1,000 by 1208, and frame sampling. Alright, so I'm going to click OK. Let me make sure. And then once I do that, I'm going to click the button to export it. And I'm just going to wait for it to export. Alright, so I exported it. So I'm going to minimize this, and I'm going to minimize this. So I have my desktop here, Skate Parralax. So I'm going to open this folder, and I have my GIF right there. So I'm just going to drag this to Chrome, or right click on it, say open with Chrome. If it didn't save as a GIF, you can always save the files in Photoshop. But let's go to Safari right here, and let's drag this in, see what it looks like. Safari can't open. Why can't you open it? Alright, so there's my GIF. And I'm looking at this, it might be a little bit too dark. My vignette might be a little bit too dark. So I might go back and lighten that up a little bit, so it's a little bit brighter. Alright, so that's it.